Today on Music City Trucks, we head to the North Georgia mountains to pick up a JK Jeep.
Then we take it to Carolina Crawlers for a little evaluation.
Followed by a trip to Summit Racing in McDonough, Georgia,
where we pick up the parts to turn this stock Jeep into a bona fide wheeler.
Welcome to Music City Trucks. I'm Brandon Burke.
And I'm Mark Christ, and we are in Cleveland, Georgia at Wrangler Ranch. And if you can't tell already, they specialize in Jeeps.
And we're here to pick up our new project, JK.
It's a 2007 Jeep Wrangler. Okay. Anyway, North Georgia here is absolutely beautiful. It's a very popular area for Jeeps. Obviously, a dealership like this exists, all the mountains and everything. So we're gonna take this thing out, see what it can do in stock form. And then Summit Racing in McDonough, Georgia is just a couple hours south of here. So we're gonna swing by there and pick up some stuff to, let's just say, fix this thing up.
I know you haven't been to the store, but I have like 20 times, and it's amazing. It's a candy shop for car guys.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go see what this thing can do in stock form.
Yeah.
I've ridden in these, but I've never driven one. I've driven a lot of earlier Jeeps, CJs and TJs. Obviously XJs. And I gotta tell you, it feels like a much more substantial vehicle than a TJ.
Yeah.
I think this will be a good experience for both of us because we haven't really gone down the road of building a Jeep. I never have. I mean, I've modified Jeeps in the past for other people, but...
So it'll be nice to put the winches and bumpers and still have something you can drive.
Yep. Yeah, I'm anxious to see what that's like when we get to the point where it has been modified. Now, we've driven it stock. We know what it's like. Mm-hmm. You know, when we get to that point, how much of this drivability and comfort and, you know, ability of it to be a daily driver, how much of that is still there? How much of it's gone? What is the threshold? I hope we don't find it.
Yeah. Look at that frozen water.
We don't think of a name for that. You know?
Shorter name for
frozen water.
Holy moly, look at that.
Free holies.
And I think too, it's gonna be nice to see, did our improvements really improve the truck off-road?
Sure.
Right?
Oh,
like if we put lift wheels, tires, bumpers, and winch on it, is that really necessary? You know, so we're wheeling it stock. It's like,
well, let's just take this thing off-roading and see what it'll do like this and go from there. Well, we made it here to Carolina Crawlers Off-Road Adventure Park, and we've got Wally here, the owner. You can see we're at the base camp. Got a bunch of Jeeps here. Looks like we're gonna have a good day.
Very proud to have y'all. Look forward to getting you up here on the trails. We have this awesome group with us. We got 6 or 8 Jeeps be on the trails with us. We are gonna do some technical stuff. There's some trails in here we won't be able to do just because they're hardcore. But there is going to be some challenging stuff for a stock Jeep.
sweet, let's do it.
Well, right out of the gate, you could tell these all-terrains are gonna be our biggest problem for traction.
Definitely our biggest problem.
I have a feeling the rest of the trip is gonna happen through the skinny pedal and wheel speed.
Cool thing about us being here today is that Wally has offered to be our guide and spot us. Well, I will say it's a pretty good time wheeling the stock Jeep.
Ride's pretty good from where I'm sitting.
Well, what we're doing is we're gonna take a little break here, air down our Jeep because it's just having a little bit of hard time with the all-terrains we got on it. But the family up here at Carolina Crawlers is running up a hill. We're not gonna try an RG, but it's a lot of fun watching them.
There you go, you're in.
Service.
Put your seatbelt on, Brandon, because things are gonna get rowdy. I can't see. Pulled me right in. Wally says faster sooner.
We're doing it then.
Okay, keep it coming. Come on.
That'll grab second if you can. There you go. Skinny pedal, skinny pedal. Yes!
Hell yeah!
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
Well, we made it as far as our stock Jeep will make it, which is pretty far up here. It's this amazing view.
Yeah. I didn't think it was gonna make it this far.
No, I didn't.
But we did find the weak parts, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not enough traction.
Not enough clearance.
Definitely not enough ground
Maybe a little bit more
clearance.
protection. I know we rubbed that Nerf bar pretty hard.
Yeah, and plus we want to make it look cooler. So, you know, if we had some more travel, that would help too.
Yeah.
Suspension travel would definitely help a lot. But
Well, I think we need to go to Summit and pick up some parts.
yeah, we definitely have a lot of work to do when we get back. I want to thank you, Wally, for having us out here. Really amazing experience. Thank you for coming out, being our guide, bringing your entire crew out. Just made a wonderful experience for us to just be a part of your team, it felt like.
Awesome.
And
Yes,
so
sir.
we accomplished everything we needed to and then some. So thank you so much. It means
Awesome.
a lot.
Honored to have you guys.
Yeah, it was great.
Yes.
Really appreciate it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so we actually need to get out of here, but since we're way up here, maybe you can help us get down.
Yes, sir.
Maybe not the hard way.
Well, let's go the hard way. Yep.
Okay.
Up next, we become like kids in a candy store at Summit Racing.
Well, we had a blast wheeling our Jeep yesterday, and we've come just a couple hours south here to McDonough, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, to this amazing Summit Racing store here. Now, this is my first time here, and I gotta say, it is quite impressive.
Well, this isn't my first time here. This is like my 20th. You know, it's great you can order all the parts you need online, but you can come into the store and pick up what you need if you're close enough, or if you just want to look around,
Yeah.
it's cool too.
Yeah, I-75 is right there,
there.
so anytime you're traveling through here, just swing by. But what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be showing you around the store so you can see what it's all about. And while we're here, we're gonna be picking up all the parts that we need to take back to the shop to fix up our Jeep.
Well, before we order parts, you want to go look around at shiny stuff?
Yeah, of course. So what's really cool about this store is not only is this place a store, but there is a massive parts distribution warehouse connected to this building here that Summit uses to ship parts all over the country. So you come in here to the store, order your parts, and while you wait, they'll pull the parts, and then you can take them right along with you. Now, they've got specialized staff here that know all about this entire catalog, and they're ready to help, and that's what we've got here. Jay is gonna help us get all the parts for our Jeep.
I see you already got the lift pulled up, and is that in stock?
Yep, we got it all here.
All right, so let's take that.
Sure.
If you're doing a lift, you got to do a bumper.
Yep.
Right?
All right, let's find you guys a bumper. How's that one?
Oh yeah, that's
That looks
sweet.
good.
Awesome.
Then, well, that one's already got a winch, so let's buy a winch
Yeah.
and get that put on there.
Okay, let's find you guys a winch.
You can't do a bumper
Yeah.
without a winch. So 12,000-pound winch.
Okay, let's find us a winch. How's that for you?
Oh yeah.
That'll work.
What other things we need?
Wheels
and tires.
tires.
Yeah.
Some rock sliders, maybe. Rear bumper.
Gotcha.
That should get us
Yeah,
where we need to be.
that should be it. So after we're done ordering, What's our next step?
Okay. After that, now when you guys are ready, just see the cashiers on the right-hand side there and order pickup. They'll have you ready in about 10, 15 minutes. From there, I'll just get everything else wrapped up for you guys and be ready to rock and roll.
Awesome.
Thanks,
You want to
Jay.
go look at more parts?
Yeah, let's do it. You know, Brandon, something I noticed while you're looking around here. Some high quality entertainment up there.
Two good looking dudes right there.
Tell you what, let's go over here. I got something to show you.
Okay.
All right, Brandon, you ever seen one of these before?
No.
This is the Red Line Racer. Go ahead and
Okay.
fire it up.
Now shift it.
Yep.
Is that all you're getting?
All I'm getting, plus all the stuff for our Jeep.
Well, I mean, personally. Thank you.
Music City Trucks.
Just
What's up? What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
You all right? Nice to meet you. Brandon.
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet
Hey,
you.
guys, we got your parts already. About to bring them out here right now. Let's take them out.
cool.
Awesome.
You want to take a couple of those?
Yep.
All right. Oh, there's the tires. This is getting cool now. That everything?
One more.
One more?
Sweet.
We might have to go through this stuff out of the Jeep.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna have to go through this later.
Thank you.
Appreciate
we'll
it.
get this stuff out to the Jeep. Start building
Okay.
something cool.
Let's do it.
We have our Jeep. We have all our parts. The cool part is everything was in stock, so all we got to do now is go back to the shop and build us a Woods toy.
And a special thanks to Scott and Jay and the rest of the team here at Summit Racing for helping us out today. Now we got to figure out how we're gonna get all this stuff back to the shop. I have an idea. I'll take the Jeep and you take the rest.
You want me to just get my little red wagon out and
Whatever it takes,
tote all this
man.
home?
Whatever it takes. Up next, we unveil our upgrades and I tackle the front suspension. Well, we made it back to the shop with our Jeep, and you can see we've got all the parts here that we got from Summit Racing on the floor laid out. It's very exciting because we really don't touch Jeeps that often here. So this is really kind of a new experience for us. Now let's talk about exactly what we found out taking our Jeep off-road. We found three major problems. One, ground clearance. Two would be suspension, articulation, or travel, and then also traction. Well, we're gonna fix all of those with a few of the parts that you see here. We've got wheels and tires, 35/12/50s, not a bad deal, and also a suspension lift. Everything that you see here is kind of on the budget side, which is, it's really refreshing because we get to take a 2007 vehicle that's already a budget buy, install some budget parts, and really take this thing to the next level. This is a JK, so they were made from 2007 to 2018. It's a very modern vehicle. It has four-wheel disc brakes, power brakes, ABS, AC and heat, a reliable 3.8 liter V6 under the hood. It's affordable to buy. I think we paid about $17,000 for this Jeep. One thing that I really like about this vehicle as well is that it's easy to work on and there's a ton of aftermarket support for it. The parts are cheap. You can spend a lot of money on parts or you can buy budget-minded parts like we have. So if you are gonna be spending the money on a vehicle that you want to, one, drive either daily or just from time to time, and two, have some fun with and customize it on your way, there's really nothing better than a Jeep, especially this JK era. I mean, they were made for so long. There's a ton of these things available. You can actually find some that are already been modified, or you can just modify them yourself like we're doing. Well, with all of that said, I can't wait to get to work on this thing because I want to get it done. Want to attack the major problems first, is what I mentioned earlier, would be the suspension, the ground clearance, and the articulation, as well as the wheels and tires. So we're going to start there. Well, looking under our Jeep here, it's in relatively good shape, especially for a 15-year-old, 100,000+ mile truck. I checked out all of the steering components as well as the ball joints up here. Everything looks like it's in good shape, so we shouldn't need to touch anything there, but there is one major problem that I found here that we just can't ignore. It's got a pretty significant oil leak coming from the oil pan. Now this is a 2-piece oil pan. It's got an upper and lower. The lower just attaches with our TV, so we can reseal that if we need to while we're in there. But there's so much oil coming from the pan and the transmission, I can't tell if the rear main is leaking as well. The only way to find out is gonna be to tear in there, put an oil pan gasket on it, get it all cleaned up, and just check it from there. So we need to get that ordered. Another thing I noticed is our fuel tank skid plate's got some damage on it. There's obviously a lot of mud under here, but there's some serious scratches and dents in this skid plate. And by the looks of it, being this is a steel plate and there's very little to no rust on these scratches, chances are we did that damage. So that's a pretty good sign that we need to replace that. There's actually some aftermarket ones available. We'll get that coming from Summit as well as the transfer case skid plate. Moving on to the rear axle, the rear cover's been taken off before. Not sure why, but it is leaking, so that's gonna need to be addressed. And like I mentioned before, brakes, it does need rear brakes as well. But we also have a stripped wheel stud here that we need to replace. So the best thing for us to do would probably be, let's go ahead and take the cover off, get the rear axle taken apart, go ahead and put a new wheel stud on there and fix anything else that it needs while it's in there. For now, I'm just gonna go order some parts and then we can get working on this suspension. We're gonna tackle the front first. This is a pretty simple job, just removing the shocks and springs and replacing them with the ones that came with the kit. This will help address our ground clearance issue by allowing us to install taller tires. Well, that does it for the front suspension. That's about as simple as a lift kit gets. Springs, shocks, longer sway bar links, and this is good to go. We do have a couple other things we want to address here in the front, like the oil leak and the brake job, but we'll get to that later. For now, we're gonna move to the rear suspension.
Next, I install our rear suspension.
Then, we check out our new lift. You're probably gonna need these.
Sweet, the operation station. So the rear is pretty similar to the front, shocks, coils, sway bar end links, and Mark already addressed that we need to maintenance this rear diff cover. So the first thing we need to take off is the shocks. Teardown on these JK Jeep suspensions are pretty straightforward. Anyone with jack stands and basic hand tools and some experience can do this in their driveway. The kit comes with longer sway bar end links for the rear, so we're gonna go ahead and remove these completely. Next, the old coils come out and we add bump stop extensions so we don't bottom out those tires on the fender. Now this is an entry-level lift, so instead of a new track bar, we have a drop-down bracket. Just get everything snug for now. Now we're installing longer shocks, which again is pretty straightforward. And then the longer sway bar end links, and we're about done here. With a 2.5-inch lift, you don't have to replace the brake lines, but since we're gonna go back off-road and flex this thing out, I don't want to be stretching these brake lines any more than we have to, so we're gonna get some longer ones.
Let's see. Oh,
That's pretty cool.
it's way cooler.
I like the offset.
Now that the new suspension is installed, you know we got to throw on the wheels and tires. Yes. I love 35s. Oh yeah. Well, we got our parts on order, so we figured we might as well go ahead and throw our wheels and tires on the Jeep and put it on the ground and see what it looks like.
And considering all we've done to this thing is just like a super simple suspension lift, like the cheapest thing you can buy, and a set of wheels and tires, it completely transformed the Jeep. I love it, and I would actually drive this thing.
Now, I know what you guys are thinking. It's only, you know, a 2.5-inch lift. It's not a 4 or 6-inch lift, but that's not what we were going for. All we wanted to do was be able to fit a 35-inch tire under our Jeep. That way our ground clearance from the differential to the ground is raised.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how well capable this thing was off-road stock.
Oh,
this is just gonna take it to the next level. Besides, once you go higher than like 2.5-inch, you're gonna have to start changing a lot of other things under here, which is unnecessary and costly, and we wanna keep this thing kind of budget-minded.
So the next time you see our Jeep, we're gonna be throwing bumpers, steps, winch, lights. Let's see what else.
Fix the rear axle.
Rear axle.
Fix the oil leak up front, things that we hadn't planned on doing, but we're gonna do it. So, and then go take it wheeling.
Yeah, it's just part of a older truck, you know? You gotta maintenance it and
Yep, you save a little money.
modify it.
Save a little money on the front end. You gotta spend it on the back end. Today on Music City Trucks, we're taking our JK Jeep to a whole new level.
we're upgrading brakes and fixing oil leaks.
We're adding skid plates throughout the underside.
Then it's new bumpers, a winch, steps, lights, seat covers.
And then we see what she can really do.
Welcome to Music City Trucks. We're back here in the shop with our 07 Jeep JK build that we're upgrading with parts from Summit Racing.
Now, last time we took this thing wheeling in stock form, and I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with how it performed, but there was definitely some room for improvement. We went ahead and installed a 2.5-inch suspension lift, and we test fit our 35-inch tires. Now today, we're gonna be installing some upgrades and doing some repairs. The first thing we're gonna do is tear into this rear axle.
Here you go.
Thank you. We'll start by removing the diff cover and draining the fluid.
Oh, that's a pretty decent color.
Well, we gotta pull the brakes apart here so we can get the axle shaft out. Caliper comes off first, followed by the pads. Yeah, they're shot. Then the caliper bracket and the rotor. It's dry, that's a good sign. That means we don't have to put an axle seal in it. It's refreshing. The parking brake shoe still has some meat on it, and just a little dusty, a little bit of dirt and mud in there. That can be cleaned. Sweet. The wheel speed sensor can be removed to get to the axle retainer nuts. That's one nice thing about this particular axle, no C-clips. There she goes. Looks really good. Obviously the axle had been serviced before the fluid. Looks really clean. Hard to tell what they did other than change the fluid. There's a lot of different ways to scrape this gasket off of here. I like using a razor blade. With the parking brake shoe and the backing plate clean, we'll move on to replacing those wheel studs. The old arbor press does the trick, and it also prevents from bending the axle flange during installation of the new studs. Though it does take a little bit of elbow grease. Well, we gotta bolt it back in, Put the diff cover on it and fill it up. And then we can do the brakes. And since this diff cover doesn't get a gasket, a little bit of black RTV will seal her up. Then we move on to the brakes. We're going with EBC's Stage 20 pad and rotor kit. It comes with RK rotors, which are geomet coated to prevent rust. For pads, the kit comes with EBC's high-efficiency Ultimax 2 pads, which are built with aramid fiber and are chamfered and coated with EBC's break-in compound. This kit will provide OEM braking ability, but with the quality that EBC is known for.
Up next, I tackle this pesky oil leak for starters. While Mark's finishing up the rear, I'm gonna go ahead and start on this oil leak. And the first thing I need to do is drain the oil. Let that drain. Now y'all already know I like my hand tools. This is probably one of the best extensions I've ever used. It's a spring-loaded 3/8 extension. Not only does it wobble with the U-joint, but it actually stays where you want it to go while being able to get around stuff. And this is really nice to work with. You can see operates at a pretty good angle. Matco Tools' spring-loaded universal joint makes it much easier to handle and place sockets on fasteners while preventing the joint from becoming loose. This set includes a 6-inch, 8-inch, and 12-inch long extension for accessing those hard-to-reach fasteners. There we go. It's actually fairly clean inside. Let me get that oil pan back over here. Now on a lot of later model engines, they actually have two oil pans, a lower and an upper. Now the lower is just glued on with like an RTV based sealant, but the upper actually has a gasket, and that's where I think the oil leak's coming from. So we gotta go ahead and take off that upper oil pan. To get to the upper oil pan, you need to take the structural cover off the bell housing. See all that oil built up? It is not supposed to be right there. Now that the cover's off, we'll remove the upper pan and scrape off any old debris that might be still on the block. And since the new gasket comes with an oil pump pickup O-ring, we'll go ahead and replace that while we're in here. Next, we'll add a little black RTV to any joints that the pan intersects. The gasket kit comes with these little pedestals that act like a third hand while reinstalling the bolts. Look at that. I like to put witness marks on any bolts that I've already tightened so I don't lose track. Again, black RTV for the lower oil pan. And we done. Good times. Next, we're moving on to the front brakes. So if you're doing a brake job at the house and you don't have a caliper piston compression tool, here's a little way to get around that. You take your old brake pad, put it against the piston, then take a C-clamp, then you're gonna run that in. Make sure you're not pinching the lines or anything. You're gonna see that piston get pushed back into the caliper. This doesn't take a lot of force, so don't force it, literally. And then the piston's gonna stop. Take your clamp off. Throw your old brake pad out. Voila. Now that we're done with all the maintenance chores on this Jeep, it's time to move underneath and start installing the skid plates to protect that gas tank and transfer case. Thanks, Scott. Okay. This skid plate bolts to the factory holes in the front, and then you have to drill out the side holes into the gas tank brackets. Now there's 2 layers on this. Make sure you only drill through the first layer or you'll be buying a new gas tank. I'm gonna say these things are beefy. Well, that's gonna do it for all our maintenance and upgrades for underneath this Jeep. We got our skid plates, oil leaks fixed, Mark fixed the rear axle, we got our new brakes on it, lift. So now it's time to lower back down, go back up top, and make this thing look more like a Jeep should look.
Up next, we add some sweet new mods to our JK Jeep.
Well, now that we're done with all of the maintenance and all of the suspension upgrades underneath this Jeep, it's time to move on to trail armor, and that's gonna start with this front bumper.
Now, before we get that new bumper bolt on, we've got to get the factory one out of the way first. And seeing how the bolts and studs here are a little rusty, we're going to use a little bit of this Seafoam Deep Creep, help break up that rust so the bolts come off a little easier. With the factory front bumper out of the way, we'll remove this filler panel. Done.
As we said earlier, we got all these parts for this build from Summit Racing, including this beefy Rampage front bumper.
We'll dress it up with some new fog lights.
And my favorite, a 12,000-pound winch. This bumper already comes with winch and fairlead mounting holes built in, which makes install pretty simple.
Wire this thing up.
This Summit winch comes with everything you need to get it installed and working, right down to the wiring. Next, we'll throw on some shackles for some recovery, just in case.
Wow. Send it your way. Well, they look heavy.
They're kind of heavy.
Next, we'll upgrade to these TrailCrawler rock sliders. These are a must. Not bad. You're gonna have to, yeah, you're gonna have to wait.
Then, of course, the rear bumper. A little deep creep, and we'll replace the hitch with the new one that comes with the rear bumper.
Heavy.
It's got some gravity to it, that's for sure.
We'll check that.
Look at that.
It's on there.
Well, there's a couple other things that we're gonna be doing to our Jeep, and one of those is installing a light bar. It's pretty simple. All you gotta do is bolt these brackets in and wire it up.
Ready for this?
Yeah. Doing stuff like this kind of brightens my day, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, that looks great.
Got lights. Well, that Summit light bar came with this pretty simple harness. All you gotta do is plug it into the battery and plug this into the light. Let there be light.
Well, the only place we haven't addressed on our Jeep is the interior, so we're gonna do one last thing here, and that's gonna be to install the seat covers that we got from Covercraft. Now, these are their seat saver line, and they've got them in this camo. We had to go with the camo because obvious reasons. One, it's a Jeep, and then also it's green, so camo was just an obvious choice. What's great about these is they're easy to install and remove. They're gonna protect your seats really well, and then when you do need to wash them, well, they're easy to remove, and you can just wash them in your washer and dryer at home, and then put them back on for next time. Well, it's time to stick a spork in our old Jeep here because this baby is done. It's time to hit the dusty trail.
We're going to our hometown off-road park, Woolies Off-Road, and actually it's raining, so it's gonna be muddy, not dusty.
That'll make it interesting.
I'll get the door.
All right, this is gonna be fun.
Up next, we're gonna get our upgraded Jeep muddy.
Well, we're here at Woolies Off-Road, our local off-road park here in southern middle Tennessee. We've got our Jeep out here. We're gonna see what it can do with all those sweet mods we just did.
And since you've never been here, I figured I could run spotter and you have all the fun.
Okay. You want me to drive?
Yeah. So this is the first rock garden,
Okay.
and I'll just walk up a little bit, guide you around these rocks.
Let's do it.
Put it in 4 low.
It's in low.
All right. Just keep coming straight. Turn. Driver. All right, straighten up. Just keep it straight. Slight passenger. Got it. All right, straighten up, straighten up. Hold on. You're gonna bump it. All right, just keep it straight. Just bump it, bump it, bump it. You got it. Just get over that rock. Right there. All right, come up. Slide passenger. All right, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Driver, 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 driver. All right, hold on. This is the fun part.
That's pretty fun.
Hold on, hold on. Back up a little bit and put the outside of this tire close to this lip right here.
All right.
Not on it. A little more, a little more. Right there, right there. Got
There it is.
Woo!
Well, it made it up the first obstacle, which I would say is pretty comparable to the worst stuff we saw in Georgia with this thing in stock form.
Yeah, and it really didn't struggle at all. We just lowered the air pressure a little bit and
Well,
it grabbed.
Struggled a little, but
Yeah, but not as much as it did in Georgia.
no.
So
Well, let's take it a little further, see what we can find. See.
do something a little harder.
Yeah.
Let's try.
Yeah, look at that.
This ain't too difficult.
No. It's actually more steep than it looks from the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Dude,
right.
that's
It'll make
bad.
it.
So I gotta cross the rut right here?
Yep.
All right.
All right, you're gonna dip in it.
All right.
Oh. Yep. You're gonna come down in it. Oh.
Okay. All right.
Well, we're here. You want me to get out and spot you?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Woo. All right, let me know what it looks like.
It's two-wheeling,
All right.
so
This is supposed to be four-wheeling.
it's supposed to be four-wheeling. Back up a little bit
Okay.
and try it. Cut it, driver, driver.
Come back further?
No,
Okay.
don't go back anymore.
All right.
Cut it, driver.
All right.
Now, try that, like hard driver. Woo!
No winch needed. That
Yeah.
was less scary than I expected it to be. Well, that was exciting, Brandon.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah.
Keep both hands inside the vehicle at all
What?
times.
Yeah. Now you're wheeling. Let's go. Hit this thing.
Yeah. No problem, dude.
We need to go find more mud.
That's always. Flip a Yui right here.
Flip a U, we'll go on the other side. I know where there's some mud.
Okay.
Go get dirty, you know?
All right, here we go.
I'd start in second and bang third.
that was planned at all.
That was deeper than I thought.
Yeah, we're stuck. That's deep.
Guess he's not worried about getting his boots muddy.
This is not how I remember this hole. Good thing I brought my working pants. I finally get to use the winch. As you guys know, we got everything from Summit Racing on this build, and they also provided us with recovery gear. All right, we're about to pull the Jeep out. Hopefully this winch will get this thing out of here. Slowly just give it some gas, and then just winch in. Zigzag the wheel. All right, hold on. One thing when you're winching is you want to do about 15 seconds winching in and about 30 seconds cool down so you don't burn up the winch. All right, slow down. Keep going, hold on.
Brandon made it sound like we were just gonna cruise right through there and go up the hill and turn around and come back through. And as soon as we went in there, it was like down to the axles. I didn't have to get out and walk through the mud though. Woo! Well, Brandon, there you go again, making me look like I didn't do any work, but I appreciate you doing the dirty part.
You know, sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty.
And we built a well-capable Jeep, and what it's not capable of doing, well, it can get itself out of.
Yeah, you know, we didn't put lockers in it.
Right.
So the winch is kind of a must. You know, there's gonna be some things you can't do without lockers.
Right.
But the winch is like a secondary backup.
Yeah, and short of sinking the axles in the mud, this Jeep can pretty much do anything we throw at it out here.
Yeah, this has been the most fun I've had in quite a while.
All right, well, let's get out of here.
I would say let's go home and clean up, but it's really just me who's gonna go home and clean up.
Yeah,
So.
I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah.